Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Treasure Peter. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back, and if today is your first time of coming across my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much to my 2000 amazing subscribers. You guys are the best. I really appreciate you. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. So in the spirit of Christmas, I'll be making this beautiful off-shoulder gray dress with side ruffles and a puff sleeves. So this tutorial is very detailed and you will love to watch it to the end. So guys, don't forget to like, comment and share this video, and also subscribe if you've not, if this video is of value to you. Thank you. Hi guys, welcome back once again. So to make this, I will be making use of 3.5 yards of crepe material. It's a little bit stretchy, so let's go straight into the cutting. First of all, I folded my material into 4 at once because I want to cut the front and back together. So I'll be cutting the down part first before I cut the up part. I didn't place it equally at the edge because of the zip allowance, so I want this part to serve as my zip allowance. So the first thing I did was to mark the zip allowance part. So I proceeded to mark it from the up part to the down part. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to draw out the starting line, which is serving as the waistline. I went ahead to draw it across like so. To determine the width of your folding, fold it with at least your hip measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches allowance. So the next thing I'll do now is to determine the hip line. Before then, I went ahead to measure the full length starting from the half length. So I have to take out the half length because it's going to be having a joining at the waist. So my half length is actually 16 inches, but I started my measurement from 15.5 because the half inch is for joining allowance at that half length part. And then for the full length, I proceeded to mark what I wanted to use as my full length, adding my hemming allowance at the down part. From the half length, I came down to measure 25 inches as the hip line. You can use either 25 or 26 inches. And then on the hip line, I proceeded to measure the hip measurements divided by 4, and I added my extra 1.5 inch side seam allowance. Also on the waistline, I also measured the waist measurement divided by 4. I marked what I had and also added 1.5 inch side seam allowance. Then I connected from the hip line to join with the waistline. And then at the down part, I'm going to be taking the same thing I took on the hip line, but I'm going to subtract 2.5 inches. If you don't want to do it this way, go ahead to measure round at the edge of that person that you're making for. Just go ahead to measure around at the down part of your leg side, how free you want it. So I usually take out either 3 inches or 2.5 inches, and it will give me the perfect fit. And then see how I'm connecting it to meet up with the hip line. So just go ahead to connect it in this manner in a slant form. So the next thing I went ahead to do was to take out the zip allowance. So I had to measure the zip allowance. Before then, I cut out the upper part of the waistline. Sorry, my camera was not showing, and then I had to measure out the zip allowance to be exactly 1.5 inch because I wanted to make use of 1.5 inch. So I just measured across from the up part to the down part, and then I went ahead to cut it out. So guys, I'm taking time to really explain how to cut this down part because I believe beginners will be watching this video. And if you are a beginner, here is an opportunity for you to actually learn how to cut the skirt part of a gown. It's very simple and very easy to cut. So after cutting it, I had to keep it aside. So for this whole part now, I noticed that the length of this one is actually enough for the half length that I want to make use of. That's why I'm using it. So since it's actually off shoulder, I usually start my off shoulder from 5 inches depending on how off the person wants it. If the person wants it to be so off, you can start from 6 inches or even 7 inches, but 5 inches is moderate, or even 4.5 or 4 inches. So I went ahead to place it already to This is actually the front and the back. I'm folding it into 4 and I kept the zip allowance, and I went ahead to mark the zip allowance across like so. So by just looking at it, I know that I have about 1.5 inch for the zip allowance at the back side. Then the first thing I did was to draw the starting line across, starting from 5 inches, and then I had to cut it out so it would be straight at the beginning line. I measured from 5 inches below to 8.5 for the chest line. You can use 8.5, you can use 8 inches or 9 inches depending on your discretion based on the person's bust measurement. So I just marked 8.5, and then for the full length, for the half length rather, the half length is actually 16 inches, but I made use of 17 inches because of the joining at the down part and at the neck turning. On the bust line, I proceeded to measure the bust circumference divided by 4, and I added my side seam allowance of 1.5 inch, and at the down part I also measured the waist circumference divided by 4. I added 1 inch for that and 1.5 inch side seam allowance, and then I connected the line like this. For the neck width, I made use of 5.5. You can use the formula, the shoulder measurements divided by 2 minus 2 to get the accurate neck width. So I marked what I had, and then I connected it to the bust line in this form to form the armhole. I came down with 1.5 inch for the neck depth. This is actually going to be the back neck depth, and then I connected it to the neck width in this manner. For the front neck depth, I'm going to still reduce it again because the front neckline is a sweetheart neckline. So I proceeded to just cut it out. I went ahead to reduce the back side a little at the down part. This is to prevent start folding at the back so that it won't look bulgy around the zip part. So I came up with 1/2 inch at the zipper point and then connected it back to the allowance point, and then I proceeded to just cut it out. Also at the zipper allowance part, I will come in with 1/2 inch at the down part and also connect it towards this chest line like this. This is just also to reduce the bulginess around the zipper point. So right now I want to reduce the front side again. Like I told you before, the front of this neck, I want it to be a sweetheart neck. It's actually a sweetheart neck from the inspiration. So what I'll just do is to just reduce it a bit again. You can actually leave it like this if you are okay with it, but I just proceeded to just reduce it a bit. I didn't go down too much. Let's say I came down in total with about 3 inches, which is still very okay because it won't show the cleavage. Then I proceeded to just cut it out. So this is it. After cutting it out, I'll just go ahead to cut out the facing for the front neck and the back neck. Here are the facings. I'll go ahead to turn the neck with the facing. So place it on the right side of the fabric and just turn it the normal way we turn our neck for the front and the back. I'll be making use of hemming gum so that I'll have a neat finishing. Here is it after turning the neck. Going to take the dart right now, so I went ahead to just flip it over to the wrong side, and I measured the nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus 1/2 inch from the center, and then I went ahead to just mark it at that point to be the point where I'm going to take the dart, and I notched the point. So I'll be taking the dart, measuring, taking out 5 inches. Remember the 5 inches that we started the measurement from, and then I'll be measuring to the bust point 1 inches below the bust point. In this case I had 12 inches, so I'll just mark 12 inches, and it is from 12 inches that I'll start taking the dart. So I'll just go ahead to take the dart. I just proceeded to draw it out so you guys will understand. I'm taking time to explain this for beginners sake. So 1/2 inch for the dart intake at the waistline. I'll do the same thing here. I'll just do it over at the machine, and then I'm going to also do the same thing for the back side. But the difference between the front dart and the back dart is that I'm starting my measurement for the nipple to nipple from the zip allowance point. So I'll just measure it from the zip allowance point and mark it. And also when I'm taking the dart from the beginning. I'm going to be starting it from the chest line, unlike the front part that I started from 1 inch below the bust point. So that's just the difference between the dart for the front and the back. So I'm starting it from this chest line, and then I'll go ahead to take both darts for the front and back of the camera and show you guys what I have. Here is it, guys, after taking the darts for the front and the back. So guys, the next thing I'll go ahead to do now is to attach the up part to the down part. So I'll just go ahead to attach it with 1/2 inch. I'll be attaching it the front side to the front side, taking it right sides facing each other. So I'll just go ahead to join it like this. I'll do the same thing to the back side, but I'm going to also join the zip allowance point at the back side. So make sure you take notes of where your zip allowance is and position it correctly, especially as a beginner. Do not mix it up. And then after joining it, I'll also go ahead to join the zip allowance, and you can come down with like 5 inches below the half length, and don't forget to open the slit below. So guys, for the ruffles at the side, is either you use this rectangle to form the gathers and form the ruffles, or you cut a fillet. If you cut a fillet, very long fillet, it will really consume your fabric. So if you do not have much fabric, I will say that you should stick to this rectangle. For the rectangle, the width is actually 8 inches, and I have not hemmed the down part yet, but the width is 8 inches. So I think after hemming, I'm going to have at least 7 inches. And then for the length, make it at least ×2 of the length of the down part where the ruffles is going to be. So make it to be at least ×2. So it could be more than ×2 of it. This is what I'm trying to explain. If you measure from this half length to the down part, whatever you have, times it by 2 and use it for the length of the ruffles part. This doesn't mean that it cannot be more than. It's even better if it's more than, so that you'll be able to, you know, do more ruffles. So guys, at this point, I'll just go ahead to hem it very well. Note, we are cutting 2, one for one side and one for the other side. So I'll go ahead to hem it off the camera. This down part, I won't hem this other side, but I'll hem this side as well as the down of the other end. For the sleeve, since it's an off shoulder, we are not going to cut it like the normal sleeve. So this is the 2 sleeves folded into 2. For the length, I made use of 16 inches, and for the width, I made use of about 18 inches. And this is folded into 2. Note, it's actually folded on the width. So I'm going to hem the up part as well as the down part for elastic. So go ahead to hem it down. I'm going to hem it down first before placing it to cut the armhole. So guys, here is it after joining. This is the back side. I had gone ahead to join the zip allowance point and join it up to the zip opening, and this is the front side. I had gone ahead to also join the half length. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to attach the sleeves. So before we attach the sleeves, I have gone ahead to hem the down part and the up part of the sleeve. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut the armhole. So the easiest way to cut the armhole is to just fold it into 2 like this, and take one side of the armhole for either the front or the back, and just place it at the edge, and then just cut it out. This is just to use it and trim it and cut it out. This is the best way to actually cut the armhole for an off shoulder. So I'll also place it on the other part of the sleeves and cut it out also. At this point, I'm going to proceed to fix elastic for the up part and the down part. So for the elastic, I made use of about 12 inches for the down part and 10 inches for the up part. And I've gone ahead to also fix the zip. And now it's time for us to attach the sleeves. I've gone ahead to fix the elastic, so I'll just go ahead to join the sleeves. So just go ahead to join it, the back and the front. I'm going to join it to this back side, and then take the other side and join it to the front side. I'll do the same thing for the other side of the sleeves. So my elastic wasn't actually enough, so I could not fix the elastic at the up part of these sleeves, but I'm going to do that later. But just know this is how we are joining it. I'll go ahead to join them off the camera and show you guys what I have. So guys, after joining, here is what I have. I have joined both the front and the back together. The next thing I'm going to do is to just close the side, but note, because of the ruffles at the side, the ruffle started from the half length. I'm only going to close from the sleeves to the half length. We are not going to close the down part yet, so just go ahead to confirm your measurements and close up to the half length. I'll do that off the camera and show you guys what I have. So guys, here is it after joining the sides. We are going to be doing the ruffles. We are going to be doing the gathers part at the side, so just go ahead to open it up and bring the long strap that we cut. Remember the long strap that we cut earlier on? So here is it. I have gone ahead to hem this part. See how it's looking so neat. You need to hem it to be very neat so that it will give you a very neat finishing. I also hem this upper part. So this is where the work is in this gown. You have to take time to do these ruffles, and you have to also try to make it very accurate. So if you're a beginner, you can do this, and you can actually use your pins to secure them while doing the gathers, so it will help you to get accurate gathers. But I know it's going to stress you, but you don't have a choice than to do it that way. Or you can as well run a loose stitch on it, and then you sit down to use your hand to drag the gathers to form that gathers. You know, that's another way of forming a gathers. So just go ahead to measure what you want to achieve as the gathers at the end, the length that you want to have, and then you go ahead to run a loose stitch and then use your hand to drag the thread to form the gathers. Or you can use this method and just sew it directly on the machine. I hope you guys are seeing what I'm doing. Like, I'm actually forming the gathers already, but I'm just using my pins to secure, to show you guys what I'm trying to explain. This is actually for beginners. So this is the point where you have to take time so that you'll be able to get an evenly distributed gathers, so your ruffles will not look thick on one side and very scanty on the other side. So make sure that you do it accurately till the end. But for this end part, based on the allowance that you kept, you need to fold it before reaching the end. You can go ahead to just hem it at that point, but I wanted to use my hemming gum to, you know, iron it out. That's why I'm not folding it yet, and I want to weave it first before using the hemming gum. So just go ahead to run that both on this other side and as well as this other side. I'll do that off the camera and show you guys what I have. Guys, here is it after running the ruffles on both sides. This actually really kind of wasted my time because I had to sew it and lose it before sewing it to get the accurate measurement. Initially it was as if my ruffles would not be enough, but then again it was now more than enough, so I had to do it twice. So guys, at this point, this is the time for us to close the sides. Make sure that you get the appropriate measurement. Make sure that you get the appropriate measurement because of the way the ruffles are. You will not like to, you know, shape it and shape it again. So make sure that you confirm the hip measurements, you confirm all the measurements before closing it. So that is just what is left. Just put it inside and close it. I am going to close mine off the camera and show you guys what I have. So my baby entered the camera. I never knew she entered at this point. Pardon her tiny beautiful legs. My friend's baby, by the way. So guys, I'll go ahead to close it off the camera and show you guys what I have. Okay guys, here's the final look of this gown. I've gone ahead to weave it to make it very neat, and I have closed the sides. Let me just bring it out to show you guys what I have. So the last thing I will do is to use the hemming gum to hem the down parts and also hem the slits, and that will be all for this gown. So this is it. See how beautiful it's looking, and see how evenly distributed the ruffles are. This is how yours should look like. You need to make it to be evenly distributed. So guys, this is it. This is the end of this video. I'll go ahead to just use the hemming gum to hem the down part and hem the slit opening, and I'll show you guys the final look of this gown on my client's body. Thank you so much guys for watching. If you've watched up to this point, please do well to hit the subscribe button if you've not, and also turn on your notification bell so that whenever I drop other sewing tutorials you will be notified. And if there is any tutorial that you want me to do, please feel free to drop it on the comment section and I will try my best to do it. This is it guys. When my client tried it, she really bodied this gown. It was looking so beautiful on her. She really loved it. See you guys in my next video. Bye for now.